Good morning, friends. So, today we are going to discuss about a rational decision making. Actually, in grade 11, unit 1, IAL economics, this is one of the most important topics. You used to get some case study question and some MCQ question from this portion. So, you have to give enough importance for this particular topic. So, let's check how the rational decision making will work. Actually, rational decision making came from a behavioral economics. Is that traditional economic theory has assumed that consumers are perfectly rational, patient, and computationally proficient little economic robots that knows objectively what make them happy and make the choices that maximize this happiness. So behavioral economics, what they are saying is that consumers are always perfectly rational. They are patient and computationally proficient. That means the mathematically they will calculate what are the benefit they are getting and everything. And they are just like a little economic robots that knows objectively what make them happy, knows objectively what make them happy. For example, how they can able to maximize their utility. They knows that which way they can able to maximize the utility. So according to that, they will react. So when making a decision, there is often a number of factors will influence an economic agent. For example, in a market, how a consumer or how a producer will react, it is based on the product, the price, the value of your time. These are the three factors. When an economic agent is used to make a decision, they will be considered with enough importance. We know that already. Okay, as a customer, when you are going to purchase, these are the most important factors, isn't it? First, the product, which product you want to purchase, and what is the price of that particular product, and value of your time. In order to purchase that particular product, you used to go to that particular shop and you have to purchase it, whether it is nearby or far away. So everything you will calculate and you will decide. Okay, then in rational behavioral economics, they are saying that consumers will always maximize the utility. The underlying assumption of rational economic decision making, the consumers aims to maximize utility. In the rational economics, always a consumer is rational means what? Consumer will try to maximize the utility. Utility means what? The one satisfying capacity of a commodity. Because of the scarcity, they have to make a choice. We know that we have limited resources, isn't it? So whenever there exists a shortage of resources, we will have to make a choices. Such a comparison may result an opportunity cost. So among that particular choices, if you are selecting any one particular thing, other will become an opportunity cost. So such a comparison may result an opportunity cost if there is a US dollar to be spent on chocolate, a magazine, or a gift to a charity. There's a three choice. If you select a chocolate, other two will become an opportunity cost. Then in the case of workers, the economic agents only we are discussing. First we discussed about the consumers, and now we are going to discuss about the workers maximizing the utility. How the workers will maximize the utility. You can able to check there. Workers are assumed to, in a neoclassical theory, want to maximize their own welfare at work. Okay, for example, they will consider only their own welfare, not by the particular companies or particular organizations' welfare or their benefits. Workers will always think about their own personal benefits. For example, how long to work, how many hours I have to work, how much salary or a wage I used to get it from that. Then job security and job satisfaction, whether that particular job is satisfies me or my wishes or my ambition like that. Cost of looking alternative employment. What is the opportunity cost of looking for another job? So all those factors where workers will consider before they will select a particular job. Okay, so how workers will maximize the utility means these are the consideration they will be considered to maximize their utility. Okay, when it comes to the firms and the government maximizing utility, how they will maximize the utility. Firms in neoclassical theory assumes that the owners of the firm want to maximize their reward from the ownership. This means that the firms will aims to maximize their profit. We know that as a normal economic theory, every firms will have only one objective, that is a profit maximizing objective. So of course they will try to maximize their profit. When it comes to the case of government, government are assumed to assumed to want to maximize the welfare of the citizens. They take the decisions that will lead to increase the welfare of the country as a whole. They will not consider about the welfare of a particular area or particular individual. They will be considered welfare of that entire particular country. So, in neoclassical theory recognize that these assumptions about the goals of economic agents can be oversimplified. Some economic theories assumes that economic agent will act rationally in a way that maximizes their total net benefit. So that means that they will act to maximize their marginal benefit. So marginal benefit means by consuming one more, how much is the additional benefit you are receiving from that. So all these economic agents will, every time they will try to maximize their utility. That is what Hussein, the neoclassical theory says. But when it comes to the case of rationality versus behavioral economics, some economists, however, argues that the picture of homo economicus offered by the neoclassical economics of economic actors is incorrect. That means they are saying that these consumers will always act rationality means that is wrong. That is incorrect. A group of economists argue like that. The economic agents such as the consumers are not rational, especially consumer behavior. They are not rational always. For example, they often do not buy a cheapest price and their choice can be manipulated. This view is explored by a branch of economics is called behavioral economics. So here comes the neoclassical and behavioral economics. The neoclassicals assume that the consumer will and all economic agent will act rationally. But here a new branch of economics comes, that is the behavioral economics. Their views are the consumers are not always rational, or the economic agents are not always rational. For example, they often do not buy a cheapest price of product. Normally we know that whenever the price of the product is very cheap, means every consumer will have a choice to buy that particular product. But here what they are saying is that every consumers will not try to buy the cheapest product always. That means that consumers are not behaving rationally. So in this case, the reason why consumers are not behave rationally need to be feel valued. For example, there is a three basic reasons consumers why consumers are not behaving rationally. First one, consideration of the influence of other people's behavior. Some other people's behavior will influence. Then the importance of habitual behavior and inertia. For example, what is a habit? That will also make them to behave irrationally. Consumer weakness at computation. Always consumer is not like just a simplified robots. They will sometimes they will have difficulties in doing some simple calculations. So these are the three reasons why consumers are not behaving rationally. Then the reason why consumer may not behave rationally and need to be feel valued. For example, if we see our friends drinking alcohol, we are more likely to do so too. For example, if my friends are used to drink alcohol, means of course I will also sometimes I will also try to do that. So even housing market booms can be caused by this effect. Sometimes because of this consumers, for example, the friends are drinking alcohol, we are not okay. Why the consumers are not behaving rationally? They are saying that the housing market boom is also be the result of this consumer irrational behavior. For example, some people start investing in housing, so others think that this is a good idea too. So others will also do the thing. Same thing. For example, we seems to be particularly influenced by what other people do when making our consumption decision. We will consider how other people will do. For example, everyone are purchasing iPhone means, yeah, I also need to be purchase iPhone. In my every friends are having a particular thing. For example, everyone are playing a PUBG games. I also feel to play the same thing, isn't it? Because my friends all are there, so automatically I will do that. If everyone are reading a books means sometimes okay, I will also feel okay, I have to read one book like that. Clear? So sometimes our behavior is influenced by others. That is the one reason why consumers are not behaving rationally. For example, the importance of second one is the importance of habitual behavior and inertia. The status quo based is tendency which individual have to just sticking with their current situation. Individual is sticking with their current situation. They doesn't want to make any changes in their pattern of behavior or their consumption pattern. We observe this in the weekly shop of most families at the supermarket. Every time they used to visit a particular supermarket and they used to purchase from there, they will never feel, I want to go to some other supermarket and I want to try. They will not feel that. And the tendency to stay with the same bank, even though others may offer a higher interest rate. Sometimes the others bank will provide a higher interest rate, even though consumers are not wish to change their bank service. This is often linked to an individual wants to play safe, not wanting to risk a change which might make them worse off. They are thinking that if you are moving from one bank to another bank, sometimes will be loss and all those things. So they are afraid. So that is the reason why they are sticking with their current situation. They doesn't want the inertia means what? They doesn't want to make any changes in their behavior. This bias can cause consumers to lose out the possible utility gain. Actually, it is better if they change, even though consumers are not doing that one. Other banks are offering higher interest rate, even though present situation the consumer doesn't want to change it. Why? Because of the inertia. Because both are indifferent for that particular consumer. That's why, like that, they are thinking. Actually, their net welfare gain is positive, even though they are not ready to do that. So here, consumers are behaving irrationally. Then last reason why consumers are behaving irrationally. Consumers are not rational. Why? Because consumers weakness at computation. They are not that much good at computation. Mathematical calculation they are not doing properly. Humans are particularly bad at mathematical computation. For example, we find it really hard to understand the probability and to make a forecast about how we feel in the future, making it hard for the individual to assess the full cost and benefit of the consumption decision. Whether I am consuming alcohol, what will be the full cost and benefit of that? The consumer is not calculating exactly. We cannot calculate it exactly. So based on that, they cannot make an exact judgment regarding the consumption decision, making it hard for the individual to assess the full cost and benefit of the consumption decision. Individual tend to go with the default option. Previously what I am doing, the same thing I will continue. That is the choice that has effectively been chosen for them. For example, if you take out a magazine subscription, for example, you have subscribed a magazine, unless you actively cancel the subscription, it will automatically renew it for the next year. The people tend to let their subscription carry on without engaging in an active, rational assessment to whether the magazine will generate the sufficient utility for the another year. This effect of consumption pattern and intelligent firms can exploit the tendency. For example, these consumer weaknesses are exploited by some business organization. That is the reason why sometimes the consumers are feeling loss, consumer surplus, loss in the consumer surplus, because consumers are not behaving rationally in this particular situation. This is called what? Rational economics, or we can able to say that rationality. Clear? So thank you.